People have forgotten why we wanted to go to the moon. The Russians were kicking our butts, and they were threatening us with the ICBMs, with huge rockets that they had. And somehow we had to catch up. And President Kennedy came up with this idea that we chose to go to the moon. That would be a big leap over what the Russian technology was. Anyway, Downey was chosen to built the spacecraft. And Houston was decided to be the mission control at Houston, and it was called at that time MSC, Manned Space Center. That's the power for the buildings. And this is the mission control room that's well familiar by everybody, and this is a mission control photograph so you can see what it looks like. There was also a couple of Apollo spacecrafts that were there. One was mock-up, there was S008, and the other one was in the vacuum chamber, which was used later on with the thermal chamber, and that was 2TV1. Anyway, these were tested there, and they also had an A station to work with that chamber to test the spacecraft with changes and things of that nature. Anyway, this is kind of what it is in the past. So I went down to Houston to see what it looked like in the present time. It was a nice trip, and I really suggest going there. And I try to see the same things things were going during the space program. So here it is. Hi, this video is about Space Center Houston back in 2010. Today they've got a lot more and different displays and inside and out, but this is what they had then. It was pretty impressive 10 years ago. So it's really a good place to go visit. I worked on the Apollo in Downey, and things were shipped over here to Houston for different tests and operations. Houston was a big deal back in the Apollo days. It was mission control, and it still is a big deal for space. But back in the heyday of the Apollo, it was very, very popular, and it's well worth going to this particular park even now. It's impressive. I would recommend going there and spending probably as much time as possible if you like space stuff. There's a lot to see, and the mission control room is very modern. It's not the same one they used during the Apollo era. They have that like in a museum kind of thing in one of the buildings, and it's somewhere else. But this is the one that's active now. They let you go to the viewing room and look at what's going on at the current situations. You'll see things that are going on in space right now. So it's very interesting, and they give you plenty of time to look at everything. They don't rush you through like some places. This is the display room. It's actually, they call it now a training room for the astronauts, but it's really a place with a lot of mock-ups, and they have the International Space Station mock-up in here, and you can you can't walk through it. I had a privilege to I knew one of the fellows that worked there, and he got me permission so I could go walk through the area itself. But anyway, the tourists are really usually confined to just the viewing windows, but it shows quite a bit. You can see quite a bit from there. It's got big bay windows, and all the equipment is all interesting. There's a guy that goes through with you and explains some of the stuff you're looking at, so you're not just looking at a bunch of equipment laying around. At that time, they had the space shuttle in here. I don't know if they have that anymore there, because they have a mock-up outside now that has the transport and a space shuttle on top. The one when they did the final fly throughs. The actual last flight was in Los Angeles, and it's now in the museum in Los Angeles, Los Angeles Museum. So if you're ever in Los Angeles, it'd be nice to see the space shuttle. The last flight was there, and it was a big deal in LA when they did that. But anyway, this mock-up room has a lot of equipment, and it's well worth seeing. I took a lot of pictures there, and I had some other people take pictures for me while we were in there. This is the inside of the International Space Station. That's a photo of my wife, and it kind of looks like just hallways in there. It's they need something like a holodeck up there, so like in Star Trek, so people could give them something to do this, a break from all this technical stuff. We're back on the road here, and we're going to another building, and that particular building is coming up. Picture of the flag, and they're right in the heart of the old MSC facilities. And we're going into some equipment that has been used in one of the buildings, and trying to get the name of the place here. And there's a mock-up of the space shuttle inside. There's some fake portraits we did. It's kind of neat to be inside of that thing. Okay, this is a Rocket Park. That's a Rocket Park building, and it's great. They have a Saturn V rocket with Apollo mounted on top in there, and it's laying on its side. And it's a huge building, and you get to walk through the whole. You can see the rocket all the way through, and they have this hallway here that has the different missions that were there. That's a mission 17, Apollo mission 17, 16, 15, etc., all the way down to 1. And walking through, they have displays on there about the different things. Now this is on the other side of the rocket, and it's a little display booth there, and it has the moon, and they show the orbit that went from the Earth to the moon and back. So, and here's a picture of the Apollo. It's got the escape rocket on top, and this is the real deal. I don't know if it's probably just a mock-up, but it's still impressive. This whole thing, I don't know if it's an actual. I think it's an actual one, not a mock-up. It's still got all this wiring and stuff in it. So I didn't really look at the information if this was a mock-up or the actual rocket being used. It looks like an actual rocket, and we got a lot of them back in the day. They're expensive, but they did the job. There's the different sections. They have different stages on there, and that's the second stage there. It was made by Rockwell, and it had 5 rockets in the back. And now this is the first stage, and that was made by Boeing, and they had. This shows the size of it. It takes up almost the entire room there. We've got pictures of the rocket itself in the back, and I took some different views of it so you can see what the rocket looks like. They're big. They're really huge. I should have had somebody stand in front of it so you could see how large these things are. And during launch, they make a lot of noise, and they make a lot of smoke and a lot of fire. This is I think this is the second stage, and showing the front of it. And here's an F1 engine that was used on there, and to show you the size, there it is. I wish I put somebody in front of it so you could see what it looked like. And this is a display for the Apollo 1. It's along that road where they had all those different missions. And the unfortunate thing about Apollo 1, I worked on that bird, and it was a fire, and it was something to do with oxygen, and it was a bad thing anyway. But all those 3 astronauts died in a fire, and they really got a chance to go into space. It was at the launch stand, but things were improved, and everything got better after that. The guys were more conscientious. There was more attention paid to their work, and these things, this is the real deal. You can't be messing around with this space program. There was the early days because they didn't know about a lot of things, so it's just the way it is. So there's a picture of it all burned up, and here's the Apollo 11. These are the guys that went to the moon and landed on the moon itself. 2 of them did anyway. And here's a picture of one of them on the moon itself. This is on the display for Apollo 11. And here is showing again the front stages of that bird, and here's 17. Now we go along that, it covers the 17, 16 bridge, walk through that hallway, and you can see it a little more close-up of what the displays are. You'll have to go down there to see the actual displays. I didn't have, that was not the purpose of making this video, it's just kind of give you an idea what is there, and you can go down there and see for yourself. But it's very impressive. It has a lot of different information on each particular mission, what was the highlight and what was really important for those different missions. So I got up to mission, I think 7, and then I jumped out to 1. So I put it a little bit, oh, actually, yeah, there's 1. Yeah. So this is a yard that's adjacent to the rocket park building, and they had some rockets outside. And this is Little Joe. Little Joe was used for testing with boilerplates, and they test different things on the Apollo boilerplate. Boilerplate is just a replica of the actual bird, and it does everything made the same. And that's kind of a little explanation about the boilerplate. And the boilerplates were used for testing. They dropped them on the ground, and they swim off planes, and they put parachutes on. But here's a rocket again. I don't know which one. It might be the F1 again. And this is and we're coming next to the end of this video. And thank you for watching the video, and goodbye.